Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to work on a Geode glitter cup. So the first thing that I did for this cup was I painted it. I used the Flippin' Awesome Coral Crush paint. So I just want to let you guys know that this Geode style cup is a lot of fun. It's time consuming, and this is not my original idea. I saw this on another group that I'm in, the Simply Handmade Facebook group. You can search that group and you'll find it. Amanda Hughes is who, as far as I know, kind of came up with this design. I know that she does this design a lot, and she did a tutorial over on her page for it. So that's how I learned how to do it. I had to adjust a little bit of things just because I use Crystal-Lac products. But again, I think that you can pretty much do any kind of cup that you can do with epoxy, with Crystal-Lac, just with a few differences in technique. So again, I'm painting on the Coral Crush as my base color. I didn't need to sand because I buy pre-sanded tumblers from Makerflo. There is a link in the bio of this video to the Makerflo cups that you can order there. They do them in a variety of different sizes. I absolutely love them. I bought that turner from Hobby Lobby so that I could use it to do tutorials with. I have to tell you, it's like the slowest turner known to man. That thing barely creeps. It's good for painting though, I guess. It's kind of awkward for me, the angle that it's at, just because I'm used to holding my cup in my hand on the PVC pipe when I paint it. Or when I glitter, I don't glitter on a turner. I do it holding the cup in my hand. I find it easier that way, whatever works best for you. So after you put on your paint, you're going to let that dry for 4 hours. So I did 2 coats of that Flippin' Awesome paint, and then after I let it dry for 4 hours, I went ahead and got ready to glitter. So I'm using Halos, Avondale, and Head Over Teals, all from Peachy Olive. And I'm using the glitter glue from Crystal-Lac. What I have found with this glitter glue is that it's really, really thin. I try to paint it on really well, and then I'll let it sit for a few seconds just to kind of get a little tacky, and then I'll paint even more of it on, because if I just do one layer, it does not give me good coverage at all. So the trick that I have found is to just paint it on my cup, as you'll see that I'm doing here, get it all over the cup, get all the streaks out, give it a couple of seconds, just kind of let it sit there and do its thing, and then I'll paint some more over top of it. That way it's on there a little bit thicker. I get a lot better coverage doing it that way. I'm just using a regular Taklon brush that I got from Hobby Lobby in a pack of like 7 or 8. They were really cheap. Sorry that I go off camera a lot, especially during this video. I tend to forget that I don't know, I think I'm in camera when I'm not as much as I thought I was, so I apologize. I'm just painting on that glue. So I know a lot of you were curious in the groups that I'm in how you can do this with Crystal-Lac products when you use acetone and alcohol. I don't know why, but there seems to be a lot of discussion on what you can and can't do a lot of times with Crystal-Lac that I have found that I can do just fine. Of course, you need to be quick about using acetone and alcohol on it. You can't do it on wet Brite Tone, but as long as you're quick about it, there's no reason why you can't use that stuff. Just like hydro dipping, I can hydro dip using Marabou marble paints with Crystal-Lac products. I've had no problems with that. That's my little puddin' puppy running around. She's our newest addition to the family, our little Chihuahua. So I know it looks like I'm taking forever to put this glue on, but it's because I'm just kind of layering it and layering it to make sure that I get really good coverage. You guys can tell me what your experience has been with the glitter glue in the comments. I know it certainly makes me be able to finish a cup a lot faster. For whatever reason, the stuff is magical, and when I glitter with it, once I get my cup, you know, sealed and dried and smooshed well, I can finish a cup in a lot less layers now with that glitter glue. And I used to use Mod Podge, but I'm really glad that, you know, I have a different product to use now that I didn't have to, or I don't have to wait overnight. When I use Mod Podge, I would have to wait overnight at least for it to dry really well. And another thing I've noticed about the glitter glue that I had a problem with Mod Podge was when I would use templates like the plaid templates or the argyle. When I would pull my pieces of removable vinyl off, that Mod Podge had a tendency of like tearing. It almost like it, I mean, it does take a really long time to dry. I do not have that problem with the glitter glue. The removable vinyl comes off perfectly every time. So if you have any questions about the glitter glue, also feel free to comment, and there will be information, links in the bio for that glitter glue as well if you want to try it out. So I'm just putting this glitter on this cup. I'm not doing it any specific way. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just kind of being sporadic so that there's orange and teal in different places on the cup. You can do it however you want. And I am using some chunky glitter too, and that's fine. So there you'll see the coverage that I got. So now what I'm going to do is mix a little bit of that Avondale with the halos, and I'm going to go around the edges of the glitter so that I can blend it a little bit better. I don't like harsh lines, so I make it a point to fix that. So what I did was I sprayed E6000 on my cup, and that was just so that I could get some more coverage with glitter. I don't wait 2 hours after the glitter glue to spray E6000. I spray it immediately after I glitter the first time, and then I go back and glitter again any areas that needed more. You can see there where I'm just kind of covering up that line and just kind of blending it a little bit better. The higher you hold your cup or the glitter above there, the more area you're going to hit with the glitter as it falls. So I'm going to use my scissors to tap off the cup so I can get the excess glitter off of there. Any areas that I see that I want to touch up, I'm just going over the cup and getting those areas. I mean, I know it doesn't look all that great right now, but I mean, it's going to be a geode, so you're not going to see the whole cup anyway. You're just going to see pieces of it. Again, I'm going to spray with E6000, and then I'm going to let it dry for 4 hours. And that's how I do it. Some people let it dry less time. I let it dry for 4 because I've sprayed it a few times. And now I'm going to smoosh my cup in parchment paper. And you'll notice that I don't get very much glitter on the parchment paper. The way that I seal with that E6000, I don't have a whole lot of glitter moving around. So I'm going to just smush this on there so that I can show you how I do a layer. My very first layer of BT on every cup is always going to be thicker because it feels like the glitter kind of absorbs a lot of it. So I just kind of go a little bit heavy with it on the first layer, and then I usually let it dry a little bit longer than 4 hours, usually about 6 hours for my first layer, just because I do put it on a little bit thicker. So again, since this is Crystal-Lac Brite Tone and not epoxy, I can put this on with my finger and it's perfectly safe to do so. I try to start out going around the rim just to make sure that I get that top area really good. And there you'll notice I looked at my finger a couple seconds ago to see if it was coming off, and it's not. It's doing great. And what I do when I layer is that I pull it from the top to the bottom, and then I tend to put the excess on the bottom, and then I'll wipe the excess off the bottom when I'm completely done putting it on, if I have any extra. Because you don't want it to be dripping. And you don't want it to pull around your bottom either, because if you put it on too thick, it will yellow. So here you see me pulling it down and putting the excess on the bottom. So here, because it was so hard to do this at the angle, I just went ahead and poured a little bit on the bottom so that I could rub it on there. Sorry that it's outside of the camera frame, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting it on the bottom there and around the edge. I noticed a couple spots that I could see through to the paint, so I just kind of touched them up while I had this on my turner with BT on it. That happens sometimes. And this is a 20-ounce regular cup that I'm working on, again from Makerflo. So you're going to let your layers dry every 4 hours. You're going to sand every 3 to 5 layers. Then you're going to put your first layer of spray paint on. You're going to start with black. I'm always going to use black on my geodes for the very first layer, because that's the final layer before you get to the glitter. I don't really know how to explain it, but it looks best if black is the first layer of spray paint that you put on. About 30 minutes later, you're going to go ahead and spray paint your second layer. For this one, because the colors are orange and teal, I'm using orange spray paint. I'm using Rust-Oleum. So 30 minutes dry time between each layer. You don't want to let this dry too much, because it's going to be even harder to get that paint off. I've had absolutely no issues doing it this way. I have never had to dry or to off gas 48 hours in between spray paint layers. I've never had to do that. So now 30 minutes later, I'm putting my final coat, which will always be white. I mean, I guess you could use whatever colors you want, but for me, I prefer the final layer to be white. So now you'll notice later on that there's some texture that you can still see. The cup wasn't 100% smooth when I spray painted it, which is how I like it. I like for there to be some texture with these geode style cups. And you can see that there. So I should definitely be wearing gloves to use acetone, but I did not do that, so I'm really sorry. Don't yell at me. I mean, you can yell at me if you want to. I kind of deserve it. And I knew I should get up and put gloves on, but I didn't, so I'm really sorry. Going forward, I will wear gloves. So don't yell at me, please. So what I'm doing is I'm using an old t-shirt that I've cut into pieces. I have my acetone there, and I have my alcohol there, and I'm using the acetone first. Now, when you start to rub this off, you're going to want to like really wipe teeny tiny small areas at a time, because if you wipe straight across that cup, you're going to get so much orange and bleed on there, and then it's going to be a beast to clean up. So just do small areas as you go. It's just a time-consuming thing. You're just going to have to take your time. I know that a lot of this part of the video is outside of the camera frame, and I'm really sorry. I thought I had it more in the camera frame, but I kind of tend to hold the cup up to my face and really look at it as I'm doing it. So I went around the edge because I always like to have my rim showing glitter. So I went all the way around the edge, and now I'm using alcohol to clean it up. So you want to use 91% alcohol. 70% alcohol will not work for this. So now I'm just going to go around my cup and just remove paint slowly, little pieces at a time. Change out my shirt piece whenever it gets like really dirty. There you go. You can see there I'm doing like little bits at a time. And then I want to picture, like you want to find the spot that you're going to put your decal and remember, hey, this is my spot, and not put any acetone over that. So leave a spot for you to put your decal. So I'm just going little by little, and you'll notice that when you start to remove this paint, you're going to get rid of the white, and then you'll go through the orange, and then your edges, you'll be able to see both the orange and the black, which is what you want. It's just a really neat effect. So you see how muddy it looks when you start to rub it around? That's why you have to be really careful about not getting too much of it gone, you know, at once. I knew I was going to go all the way to the end of this cup with it, so it didn't really matter there. But just a heads up that if you muddy it up like that, it is harder to get it clean looking. Slowly as you go. I've never had a problem with acetone going all the way through all the layers of the BT. I've never had that issue. Now it will dull it up a little bit, so that's why you're going to go back over it later with alcohol. The alcohol will shine it right back up. And the image thumbnail for this tutorial is going to be one that I already did in orange and pink. But as soon as I get this cup layered and finished, then I'll change out that thumbnail for this one that I'm working on in the tutorial. If you are interested in ordering any of my Geode cups, you can check out my Etsy link in the bio. I have tons of listings on Etsy. So see there, I'm going down the edge a little bit. Just trying to clean it up a little bit as I go. This is a messy endeavor for sure. But you can see how it works out there. Sometimes it can take a ton of layers to get a cup perfectly smooth with crystal-lac, and that's the cool part about this style cup is you don't want it completely smooth. You want to have some texture there. And if there's something I didn't cover in the tutorial that you have questions about, just comment and I'll be happy to answer any questions. In my Facebook group that I made, it's attached to my business page. There's quite a lot of cup makers that have joined that page. I really haven't done a lot with it. I tried to do a live, nobody joined. I've commented on there to ask when's a good time for people to do a live. No one really responded. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep the group or not. But listen, I would love to help any of you that have questions. Feel free to go on there and ask. I love to help people, and I work on my business from home. I don't work outside the home anymore, so I have plenty of time to be helpful to others as I'm working on my own cups. Sorry about the background noise. Gotta have some of my Diet Dr. Pepper. Also, be sure to let me know if there's any cups that you want to see me do a tutorial on. I enjoy making these. They're a lot of fun. Feel free to share my videos with your other cup making friends. My goal eventually is to try to be an influencer to where I can, you know, make money on Amazon or ads and things like that. Slowly but surely, my numbers are going up. And I sure appreciate it. I really appreciate all the love that I've gotten from all of you in groups that I'm in. I love making cups. It's really enjoyable for me. I've always been a crafter. I'm like dirtying up my acetone container so badly, but it'll clean up. You see how easy that was when you saw me wipe across and the black showed through? Like, you have to be super delicate with this because it really will wipe away super easily. But if you get smears of orange around the edges, if you'll take just a little bit of acetone and barely just swipe across it, it will clean it up a little bit. Don't put any pressure at all, just barely swipe. The alcohol also will clean up the edges really well. I need an idea for what to put on this cup. The last one, the pink and orange one that you'll see as the thumbnail for this video for right now, it says, "Thou shalt not try me, Mom 24/7." Do you guys have any ideas for what I should put on this cup? If so, be sure to comment that below. And I've gone outside the camera, so I'm sorry. After I went back and watched the whole thing, I was like, oh my gosh, I was outside of the camera so much of the time. So hopefully me explaining the steps to you are helpful. I've heard that those old, or not old, the white cheap handkerchiefs that you can get at the Dollar Tree are really good for this. I haven't had a chance to go pick any up, but I think that's what Amanda Hughes uses when she does her geodes. I had some old t-shirts on hand, so that's what I used. You don't want to use paper towels for this, or cotton balls, cotton swabs, anything like that, because if you do, you're going to get pieces of fuzz all mixed into your spray paint layers, and it's going to be a pain to try to get off. So I'm using my alcohol here, and I'm just going around the edges to try to clean up stuff. Actually, no, I'm still using acetone at this point, my bad. My little pump on my alcohol, I don't know if I broke it or if I just need to tighten it on there, but it's not been working. And I have like a teeny tiny little bit left because I can't find any 90% alcohol anywhere in town. So I ordered some on Amazon, but it's going to be the 27th before it gets here. And for anybody that missed it, I said earlier that you should definitely wear gloves when you're working with acetone. I'm a dummy and I didn't put gloves on, and I'm sorry, and I won't make that mistake again. So please make sure that you're wearing gloves when you use it. There you can see you see that white area I left for my decal, and the other areas. You see that the glitter looks a little dull there. And I've got to go back and shine it back up with alcohol. Yep, see how it's a little dull? I had just enough alcohol to finish this project. You don't have to worry about being careful about smearing, because the alcohol's not going to smear that paint at all. All it's going to do is clean it up and re-shine up your glitter. You can even rub pretty hard with it, and it's not going to hurt anything at all. You see there, like, I'm not trying to be delicate with it at all. Now, after I've finished cleaning this up with alcohol, I'm going to let this cup sit for 24 to 48 hours. My rule of thumb, David said it in the official group at one point, it was a long time ago, about doing the sniff test. If you can put the cup up to your nose and smell it and you do not smell spray paint any longer, you can move forward. So usually the paint that I use, I've been able to kind of move forward after about 24 hours. Very few times have I had to wait longer than 24 hours to move forward. I've never had any issues with any of my cups. And there you'll see that it shined it right back up. So now you're going to just let that gas off gas, however you want to call it. And then you can move on to layers. So I appreciate you guys watching my tutorial. I hope that you liked it. Feel free to check out my Etsy page and let me know if you have any questions.